In the depths of the Appalachian wilderness, nestled among towering pines and shrouded in an eternal mist, lay a small, forgotten town called Marrow's End. This secluded hamlet, hidden away from the hustle and bustle of the world, held a peculiar legend that whispered through the leaves and echoed in the silence of the night. It was said that every 30 years, like clockwork, the forest claimed a life, a sacrifice to quench an ancient thirst. A thirst that was as old as the mountains themselves. This tale of the woods, gnarled and twisted as the roots that held the town in their grip, kept outsiders at bay. The mere mention of the legend was enough to make the townsfolk's blood run cold, their voices dropping to fearful whispers when the moon was high and the wind howled through the pines. Among those who heard the whispers of this legend was Lila, a young and ambitious journalist from the city. She was a woman of determination with an insatiable curiosity that thrived on the mysterious and the unknown. The legend of Marrow's End, with its eerie undertones and chilling implications, fascinated her. It was a story that danced on the edge of the supernatural, a story that could catapult her career into the limelight. For Lila, the forest's call was irresistible, its haunting melody echoing in her dreams, beckoning her to uncover the truth hidden beneath layers of fear and superstition. She yearned to pull back the veil of mystery that shrouded Marrow's End, to reveal the reality behind the disappearances that had plagued the town for generations. So, with a sense of purpose burning bright in her heart, Lila packed her bags, leaving the comfort of her city life behind. She was ready to plunge into the heart of the mountains, ready to navigate the winding paths and shadowed glens of the Appalachian wilderness. Sensing a story that could make her career, she headed into the heart of the mountains, determined to uncover the truth. The forgotten town of Marrow's End awaited her arrival, its secrets lurking in the depths of the forest, ready to be unearthed, or perhaps to consume her. Upon arriving, Lila was met with cold stares and tighter lips. The small, forgotten town of Marrow's End, nestled in the depths of the Appalachian wilderness, was not known for its hospitality. The town's folk, roughened by the harsh mountain life and the weight of their foreboding legend, were as unwelcoming as the mist-shrouded pines that towered over their homes. Their eyes, dark and wary, followed Lila's every move, their suspicions clear in their silent scrutiny. Their mouths, used to the silence of the forest and the quiet whispers of fear, remained firmly shut when Lila asked about the legend. "Leave before the forest comes for you," they warned, their voices carrying the weight of generations of fear and superstition. But Lila was not one to be deterred by cold stares or cryptic warnings. A spark of determination lit her eyes, a stubborn resolve that was as unyielding as the mountains themselves. She rented a small cabin on the edge of town, a quaint little dwelling that stood where the last vestiges of civilization gave way to the untamed wilderness. The first few days in Marrow's End were uneventful. Lila explored the town and its surroundings, her trusty recorder always in her hand, ready to capture even the faintest whisper of a clue. She wandered through the silent streets, hiked the moss-covered trails, and ventured into the whispering woods, her curiosity undimmed by the town's icy reception. Yet every attempt to broach the subject of the legend was met with stony silence or a swift change in conversation. The townsfolk, bound by their fear and their unwritten vow of silence, refused to utter a single word about the forest's supposed thirst for sacrifice. It was as if Marrow's End was holding its breath, the very air heavy with an unspoken dread. Every tree, every stone, every shadow seemed to whisper a warning, their silent voices merging with the wind's mournful sigh. Leave before it's too late," they seemed to say. But Lila, her mind filled with thoughts of uncovering the truth, paid them no heed. She was here to stay, no matter what. And so, as the sun set on her third day in Marrow's End, Lila found herself standing at the edge of the forest, her heart pounding with anticipation and a hint of fear. It was as if the very air of Marrow's End was laced with an unspoken dread. On the night of the 30th year, the air turned unnaturally cold. Lila, nestled uneasily in her rented cabin on the edge of civilization, was stirred from her slumber by a sound that seemed to rise from the very bowels of the earth. It was a low, mournful howl that twisted its way through the towering pines and slithered under her skin. She felt a chill creep up her spine, a primal fear that was quickly overpowered by her unyielding curiosity. Grabbing her trusty recorder, she stepped into the cold, drawn into the night by the eerie serenade of the forest. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an ethereal glow over the wilderness. The towering trees swayed without wind, their long shadows dancing on the forest floor like phantoms in the night. Undeterred, Lila pressed on, her footsteps muffled by the thick blanket of moss that carpeted the wilderness. That's when she saw it, a light flickering in the distance like a beacon calling her deeper into the heart of the forest. As she moved closer, the howl grew louder, a symphony of whispers that seemed to echo her name through the stillness. The light grew brighter, resolving into a clearing. At the center of this clearing stood an ancient tree, its limbs gnarled and twisted, reaching towards the heavens like the fingers of a skeletal hand. Beneath the tree, a figure robed in shadows, its face obscured, chanted in a language that twisted the air and made Lila's head spin. The figure was surrounded by a hodgepodge of strange offerings, trinkets, bones, and objects that seemed to hum with the echo of long-forgotten memories. As if sensing Lila's presence, the figure turned towards her, revealing eyes that glowed with an unholy light. Lila was frozen in place like a deer caught in the headlights of the oncoming truth. The figure's voice was like a whisper in the wind, both everywhere and nowhere. It spoke words that chilled her to the bone. "The forest must feed," it whispered, a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. A chill ran down Lila's spine as the words echoed around her, seeping into her very bones. In that moment, Lila understood. The legend was not a tale to ward off curious outsiders, but a grim reality that bound the town in a cycle of sacrifice and silence. The forest was not just a wilderness, it was a living, breathing entity that demanded its due every 30 years. And this year, it seemed, she was the chosen offering. Panic seized her, a primal urge to run, to escape the forest's gnarled grasp. But her limbs would not obey. The figure began to advance, its form shimmering as it moved, like a wraith in the moonlight. The howl that had drawn her into the woods crescendoed, filling the air, drowning out all other sounds. The trees seemed to close in, their shadows lengthening, reaching out as if to bar her way. Their branches swayed, their leaves rustling in a symphony of whispers that seemed to echo the figure's ominous words. "The forest must feed." With every step the figure took, Lila felt her strength ebbing away, replaced by a cold dread that froze her to the spot. Her heart pounded in her chest, a frantic drumbeat echoing in the silence of the night. She tried to scream, but no sound escaped her throat. "The forest must feed," the figure repeated, its voice a mere breath in the wind. And as it drew nearer, the world around Lila seemed to fade, the moonlight dimming, the trees blurring into indistinct silhouettes. The last thing Lila saw was the figure advancing towards her, the howl crescendoing into a deafening roar. When the townsfolk found Lila's cabin empty the next morning, no trace of her remained except for a recorder lying on the doorstep. The world was silent, as though holding its breath, awaiting the dawn of a day that had already been written in the annals of Marrow's End's history. The recorder, a symbol of Lila's relentless pursuit of truth, now lay abandoned, a testament to the grim tale it had captured. As the first sunbeams pierced through the eternal mist, they brought with them an uneasy serenity, a stark contrast to the terror that had unfolded in the heart of the night. The town sheriff, a grizzled man who had seen many a 30-year cycle, picked up the recorder. His fingers trembled, not from the morning chill, but from a deep-rooted fear. A fear that was as much a part of Marrow's End as the towering pines that surrounded it. He pressed play, and the recorder crackled to life. Amidst the static, a low, mournful howl twisted through the air, a sound that seemed to emanate from the very earth. It was a sound they all knew, a sound that echoed the loss of a soul to the insatiable forest. Then came a voice, a symphony of whispers that seemed to speak a name, Lila. The voice was both everywhere and nowhere, a chilling echo that sent a shiver down the sheriff's spine. The voice repeated over and over, "The forest must feed." The townsfolk listened, a collective shudder passing through them. Each word, each haunting echo was a chilling reminder of the sacrifice their town demanded, of the ancient thirst that was quenched every 30 years. Lila was gone, another name added to the list of those claimed by the forest, another echo lost to the wilderness. The townsfolk retreated to their homes, their whispers fading into the mist, their faces a mask of fear and resignation. And so the legend of Marrow's End lived on, a chilling reminder that some truths are better left undiscovered. For beneath the towering pines and shrouded in the eternal mist, the echo of a lost soul still haunts the forgotten town of Marrow's End.